Good evening, everybody. We are live again with another episode of Tales from the Tavern. I'm so excited about the crew that I have with us tonight. We have some people, well, nobody that has been here before, all new people to the stream, but people that I have been trying to get on stream for quite a while, let me tell you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by having everybody go around and just introduce themselves and tell us a little about who you are and where we can find you on social media and things like that. So we are going to start with Deborah, if you would like to tell us a little about yourself.
On the web at www.pardenusgaming, that's Parden for Parisic Dennis, and .com.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for coming on, and we will move down to Dev. Dev makes things.
Hey everybody, Lunas, thank you so much for having me. Been a big fan for a long time, and lots of my friends have been on. Yeah, I'm Devin. Dev makes things everywhere on the internet, and I do a lot of artwork, mostly these days for the various games that I'm running in my homeworld or one-shots. And I just now started a Ko-fi page. Still don't even know how to pronounce it.
I've had
Nothing
one for
there
like a
yet,
year,
but
and I
I will.
still don't know how to pronounce it. Well, I'm excited that it worked out to have you on. I got to record a one-shot with Dev not too long ago, and it was so much fun. So definitely check that out. It's on Beholder to No One. So, yeah. Jacob, let's go to you next.
Hey everybody, good evening, or wherever you are in the world. Maybe it's morning, maybe it's afternoon, wherever you're watching this later. My name is Jacob Plick, Duo King Jacob on the interwebs, the Twitters, the Instas, and I co-founded a little company called the Amphitheater, and where you can check that out on Twitter and Twitch, where we play some tabletop RPGs and some video games. And I also run a show called Duval and Dragons, a D&D 5e actual play based off of the greatest game of all time, Chrono Trigger, and that's on the opposite Sundays, so every other Sunday. So come check that out. Happy to be here. Otherwise,
I am excited. We've been trying to get Jacob on here for how long? Like
in a hot minute.
Yeah. And next over we have Charlie.
Hey there, I'm the GM and a bunch of other stuff over at Negative Modifier. We're a relatively new podcast that specializes in the darker end of the tabletop RPG spectrum, I guess is the phrase we use. Our catchphrase seems to have become, if you're sick of all those fantasy heroics, come check us out. And just really excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to know you a little bit, and I'm definitely, I've got your podcast on my radar, so when I finish binging the next one that I'm on. And next we've got Amber.
It's so nice to be here at Tales from the Tavern. I'm really excited. I've been watching for a couple months now, and it's good stuff. So I'm so pleased to be at this group. My name is Amber. You can find me everywhere at the Space Jamber or thespacejamber.carrd.co. I've actually just launched my my game editing, copywriting, freelance kind of gig. I am actually a professional copywriter and social media manager in my day job, so why not, transfer my skills over and use my skills for what I'm passionate about, which is creating a great story and helping folks put out the best content they can. So I've been playing various TTRPGs for a while, but I've really gotten into it over quarantine and LARPing too. So, So excited to be here. So excited to again just share the table with all of y'all and Can't wait to chat. Yay.
Awesome. That is very exciting, and good luck with the editing and all of that stuff. That's a lot of work. So for those of you who are new to visiting this stream and have not been in chat before, basically the way that this works is all of our questions and things that we discuss come from you guys. I've already seen one question get dropped into chat, so please feel free to put those questions in chat. We've got moderators that are making sure that I get them. I've seen just a few more come in now, so we're off to a good start. So the first one that I'm going to start us off with actually just came in from Ray Mayhem, who redeemed our Ask My Question Next using channel points. For 1,000 channel points, you can bump your question up to the top of the queue. And so Ray would like to know, what is your favorite thing another player ever brought to your game or table? That's a good question.
Is a bribe for me an acceptable answer to this question?
I guess it depends on what the bribe was.
Well, the Starfinder group I run that's actually not attached to the podcast, we go through an inordinate number of dry erase markers because I don't know why, but I have incredibly bad luck with them. And one of my players brought me, I'm going to assume is like the intended for an entire school's worth of dry erase markers box of those, and they had a bad roll, and I'm sitting there like, well, what do you want to do? And they go, will this thud, and put like a 20-pound box of markers on the table in front of me. Change your opinion of what just happened. I'm like, I don't know. How many black markers are in there? Because those are the ones I go through the most. They go, it's about half, and I go, I'm going to let you re-roll that. I didn't see that last dice roll that went along there.
Nice.
For me, like the way I read that question was not like a physical thing, but like a moment.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like when you're running games, like there's definitely an aspect of GMing that requires, at least in my experience, a level of comfortability from an improvisational perspective. Especially since like you're reacting to a bunch of people, and then you're the world, and how is the world reacting to what your players are doing. And so this was a classic case of over preparation that blew up in my face in a really, really good way. So there was a player that was leaving because they just, as always, schedule bollocks is always a problem, and they wrote this incredibly heartfelt, beautiful letter, and they addressed it to this particular player. And I spent, I studied the letter, and I changed and my accent, and I did it all in character at the table live. This like 3-page letter. The problem is that this character was a barbarian that didn't know how to read. And imagine this heartfelt performance that I had been given. And he looks at the pages and he goes, well, that's all right. This is all chicken scratch to me. And he throws the papers in the air. And I was just like, oh my God.
Oh, no.
Like the world is just crumbling in front of me. And literally, like, people are falling out of their chairs. It was super funny. It was super clutch for him to just, because he could have been like, Jacob, I can't read, but he let me just go into the stratosphere, and then, well, I'm sure it was great, but I have no idea what the fuck this says.
No, points to a character staying in character like that.
Yeah,
That was impressive. Yeah.
So yeah, I think about that very often. As someone says inspiration, he definitely got inspiration in that game, no doubt about it.
That's method acting. That's like, oh man, that is Daniel Day-Lewis level of being in character. We'd love to see it.
Love to see it.
I guess
I'd say please go ahead.
well,
I was just going to say that.
All right. How about Deb, then Amber, then Dev?
Okay, mine was usually something after, and that was what Deb treats. And the husband was in the game, and the wife always fixed something chocolate. And so we always had that afterwards.
That's awesome. I love that.
So right before quarantine, I'll go. I had been how do I phrase this? Last year I was in and out of the hospital a lot, but like the worst of it was like right before quarantine, like maybe a month or two before quarantine. And I wasn't GMing yet. I was still just a player, but like I had to miss a couple sections because I was, dealing with my gastroenteritis and gallbladder issues that it was the worst. But when I was actually able to make my grand return, the people at the table had put together like this PowerPoint like presentation of like moments they've missed and like adventures they took with like my they were like, oh, Braz did this, and checked with me first to make sure it was fine, but like it was like our adventure book, and it was so sweet to be like, we missed you so much while you were dying.
Aww.
Like, oh, it was so wholesome. I unfortunately that table like dissolved because of quarantine, but like I'm still friends with all those folks, and I would love, I would like, yeah, I just cat sit for one of them the other day, and like I can't wait to play with them again. It's so good. So yeah,
That's so
it's the best
cool.
thing that came to my table.
Kind of tying into that, I was going to say, in general, vulnerability,
Yeah.
and a willingness to. There's a lot of laughter and comedy and shenanigans, and just general silliness in my games, in my table, in my world. But I appreciate it when players are willing to open themselves up to all kinds of emotions. So bringing that vulnerability, and then also handing me the keys to that vulnerability in the form of backstory or character detail. Some of my most memorable moments have come from that. And another thing is, I run a number of games and one-shots and everything, all set in the same world of Vaima that I've been creating for the last year, just over a year. And all the stories end up influencing each other. So players having an adventure in one part of the world, some details will show up from that, or that will have an impact on something. And players who have been in it long enough start doing that and tying things together and adding to it and building on it. And that's a beautiful gift to me. All kinds of connections that I wouldn't have expected. So the one shot that Luna referenced on Beholder to No One is set in my world, and one of the players is actually Ray Mayhem, who asked the question. And there are a bunch of things that she dropped during that one shot that tie back into various other aspects of the world, but no one would know unless they'd played or spent some time in it. And third thing, Daphne, another player in one of my games, begins every session, every week, by reading a letter that she has written in character as Chiron, writing to their father, who is a dragon. And that is just such a great way to set the tone for a game.
That's very cool. I'm trying to think. I mean, a lot of the stuff that I've gone through. So on another channel I used to play on, I had a stream, a regular weekly streamed game on there, and one of the things that we did was in the Discord server we opened up a channel that was specifically so our community could RP with the characters that were in the stream. And so what would happen was, on a weekly basis, I would touch base with the GM, because I sort of took over like that piece of the I was the community manager for all of this stuff on the Discord server, but I really like took control of that piece. And so every week he would check in with me and say, okay, give me a quick update on anything that happened in the RP channel, and he would try to find ways that he could work it into the game. So that way, there might be a nod to a community member's character that they had made, as it, they might become an NPC in the game, or something like that. And I think that was just a really nice touch. Because it was a streamed game, I just felt like that was a really nice touch to make the community feel like they could be part of it, even though they weren't physically sitting at the table with us. And for anybody who participated in that RP room, it was like an extra little boost, because it was like, oh, I remember that. I was part of that. I was doing that in the RP channel when that happened. One of the things that came out of it was instead of just having regular mead, now we have this thing called sprited mead that became canon in our world. Or my character had a romance in the off-screen world, and some of that was able to carry over and actually drive part of the story to get our characters to move on to the next town. And so that was really kind of a cool thing, a cool way to work that in too. So I just feel like both the DM for being able to do that and being willing to do that, but also for the community to feel like they wanted to be a part of that. Like that was a huge thing for them to bring in. But yeah.
To jump on that, like one of the in like the homebrew world for Duval and Dragons, which is called Yorohatsu, like all the, whether charity or not, like all the one shots that I run and little mini campaigns and stuff are all in that world. And I always try to stress from both like an engagement perspective and a player sort of buy-in perspective, because like especially with like a charity one shot where you're like, okay, cool, like let's go in and blow some stuff up and raise some money for a really, really good cause. But like if there's an opportunity for like, whether it's a small scale like changing a drink, or like that dragon that was over there is now thinking about something different because of the adventurers that they impacted or engaged with, and so now like the wheels are turning, and so like there's that instant engagement because like what I do can impact a larger story, and then in some cases like maybe then I have to come back into that world to continue that story later on.
I guess like, if I can, I kind of follow a question to both of that.
Yeah.
Were you playing it more kind of play by post essentially, or was it more just kind of general chat room kind of forum RP at that point?
So yes. It was basically just one Discord channel. And so basically it would be play by post unless there was a group of people that were available. And then what would end up happening is somebody would, if people like were like, I don't have a whole lot of time, they might just do a little like, oh, we all go out and get drinks at the tavern and have a conversation. But one weekend, it just so happened that a bunch of us were around for both Saturday and Sunday, and we didn't have a whole lot going on. So we literally ran like a 2-day adventure in the Discord server. And it was just like, it was totally non-canon, but it was a great adventure to like, people would jump in and jump out based on combat or things that had happened, and somebody would be like, oh, I've got to run, and we'd be like, oh, it's okay, your character will jump back to this place. And because of where we were able to kind of just say that they could like vanish out of combat, and we'd just say, oh, you basically the way that this scenario was that they were fighting in an alternate plane, and so kind of the way we looked at it is like, oh, we're in combat, so if you essentially hit like 0 hit points or low hit points, you kind of vanish and go back to the real world, the real world. And so that was how we were able to get people in and out of like a weekend event like that. But yeah, it was, so it was a little bit of both. It really just depended on people's availability, and we would try to, just pull people in as we could. Some people would they would jump in and, they might post like, I don't know, a few times and then be like, yeah, this isn't really for me. And then other people were like, they'd come in and next thing you know, boom, they had a whole character with a backstory, and we just did it really loosely. Like everything was based on a D20. If you get an 11 or above, you succeed, but how close to 20 you are depends, like that grants the level of success. Anything below a level is a failure. Anything closer to 1 determines the level of failure. And then it was just a really, it was just really fun. We just put a dice bot in there so everybody could see the rolls, and it was a good time.
I guess kind of, was there a deliberate attempt to kind of try and end canonical sessions, I guess is the right phrase, in spots that allowed for the kind of jump in, or the two kind of run parallel, and you pulled when you had kind of appropriate timing?
Yes and no. I mean, sometimes there were things that, like, basically, some of the characters that were in there a lot, like, I was in there a lot, so my character was obviously in there a lot. And so she had to kind of transition along based on what was happening in the main story. And so the way that some of the characters played it is some would just stay in town and, like, they would have their little RP sessions still in town. Others that wanted to be more connected with my character would say that they were following, like, a day behind. And so then we'd RP out a scene, like, wherever my character was in canon. So it was kind of a good little workaround.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
No, just curiosity. I've had some experience with kind of the out-of-game roleplay stuff. Delta Green lends itself well to it because you have to do bureaucracy roles, but
Oh, yeah.
it's kind of there's a whole kind of system built into it that lets you do that stuff where it's your day job, but nothing ever that involved. And I was kind of curious if you deliberately kind of made spots for it, or just like, hey, it's between stuff, free form.
Yeah, I mean, we really just kind of figured it out as we went. So it was interesting, but yeah, we made it work, so it was good.
Yeah, definitely making a note for the stream I'm in to be like, hey, y'all, if Crimson Harvest gets picked up for a whole season, like, let's go.
Yeah, it was fun. It was just a fun way a fun, different way to interact with the community. But all right, let's see. We've got another question. This one comes from Nekala the Druid. Nekala would like to know, what would your wizard familiar be in real life?
This is a really, really easy answer. It's a red panda.
Ah!
Because they are so fucking cute.
They are so adorable.
So cute. Like, for a while there, I kind of did like the owl and like a badass like red-tailed hawk. And then red pandas came into my life, and it was game over, yo.
Yeah.
They're so cute. So cute. Plus, like, I kind of want that cuteness to be like, can you go over there and here, have this inflict wounds, and go give them a hug. Give them a really good hug.
Actually, mine is also very easy. Mine would be a possum, and I literally have just like possum things within reach. Like, these are possum post-its my friend Miff gave me. I have a possum tattoo. Like, I love these. I love them. But I mean, they're, they know how to play dead, and like, they would be great when you're trying to convince the big bad evil guy that, like, no, my familiar's gone. Oh no. But also, they eat bugs while you're on the road. So I mean, that would also help, so that just in case, God forbid, your DM tries to throw some, swarms at you, your possum buddy can just eat them. And also they scream at own ass, and like, who doesn't love that? That's good role play. So, Miff, oh my God, I literally just talked about the post-its you gave me. Possum.
Mine is hiding. His name is Heathcliff, and here's a picture of him. I don't know if you can see it all that well. He was here a little bit ago, and has decided to, I guess, move into the bedroom or onto one of the couches in there. And he's the chief barking officer for Pardon Us Gaming, and that was a picture of him and his friend at the groomer.
Aww.
But yeah, he's definitely doing his own thing, but he is my familiar, and pretty much anybody who knows me these days would know I love to take him everywhere. He's also my emotional support animal. And he rules the roost. He lets me pay the rent.
This one's mine right here. This is Molly. This is Gamer Cat Molly. You've seen her on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
My personal Twitch channel, I actually have an emote of her now.
Good.
Yep. So she's 16. She's my baby, but she's 16, and I've had her since she was 6 weeks old. So, yep. So can't really be
mine would also be a cat.
Nice.
Mine would also be a cat, either a stray cat, like the one I found in a box in the park as a kitten. I wasn't a kitten. She was a kitten. I was in first grade, so I guess I was kind of a kid.
Clarification.
So either stray cat rescue or pizza rat.
Oh my gosh.
If any of the listeners from Negative Modifier are watching this, they're probably listening. They're going, "I was going to say something edgy, like a scare or an alligator or a shark or something," given what he does to all the players on that, and kind of in the on-brand category of things. But I've said that probably till I got my dogs, and it's pugs. They are the right level of lazy and jerk in dog form.
There you go.
I love pugs way too much, and I mean, God, I love. I'm really jealous you have 2 pugs. I'm
There he
so
is.
jealous you have 2 pugs.
I rescued both of them. We're lucky enough to have a really good rescue here in LA that we got both of them from.
He's so cute.
Oh, thank you, and so is Molly.
Oh, thank you.
Heathcliff is 12.
Yep. Did everybody answer that question?
I think so.
I think so. Okay. All right. So, Vertrox Nightblood had a great question. What is your favorite, well, now it's canon, moments in a game you play or run?
I feel like it happens almost every session though. Like it's just like, all right, there it is.
That's a thing. Man.
Yeah, so much of the world that is developed between me and my players over the last year has been through yes-anding player suggestions. I had players. I like to ask questions in between weeks so I can add details to the world. So, like, what's your character's favorite drink? What's a tavern that you've been thrown out of? What bard song would they sing at karaoke? And then I start tying those in. I'll drop a link in the chat to a broadsheet newspaper that I made, and that the ads at the bottom are all things that players came up with.
Oh my gosh.
You said it was Vertrox? Was it Vertrox who asked the
Yeah.
question? Okay. He is in also one of my games playing a giant bear. Basically all of the things that he has added. I'll give you some specifics and come back to me.
I'm debating mine because we haven't aired our moment yet, but it's that MySpace is now nothing but Delta Green agents. The only people on there are Delta Green agents because no one else on there is not a Delta Green agent.
Well, that's just reality anyway, so that's fine.
Here's the problem: you play Delta Green. It's canon. Reality is canon in Delta Green, so it's kind of okay. What jokes we make about reality? Like, what social media would Delta Green agents use? MySpace. Why? It's dead. No one uses it, and they could be left alone.
Although you always will have at least one friend on there, and and that's Tom. I mean, Tom's always watching.
I think we established that Tom's actually an A-cell and he's maybe Alphonse. Like, that was the origin of that joke. Like, he's actually secretly the head of Delta Green.
Okay, all right, I'll contend with that.
If you want to go deep undercover, do you have to go into Friendster or something?
Or LiveJournal or
Zanga,
I'm sure,
Zanga, baby.
Oh my God, you beat me to it! I was worried about to say that. Well done.
This was where the Shignigaroth cultists hang out.
Let's blog about it on LiveJournal.
I think I have 2. So one actually involves Miff, who's in the chat right now. I am in the middle of introducing D&D to my little brother. He's 14, and so we're going through Candlekeep Mysteries, and in our second session, the whole party was looting, one of the rooms in the mansion at one of the first Candlekeep Mysteries, and the party turned the room over, found every hint that there was for the thing, and so I just felt bad because somebody had actually, for their investigation check, after they had gotten everything, they were like, what did I find under the rug? I got a 17. And yeah, you find stickers. You find just a roll of stickers. They don't do anything. They don't they're just there to decorate. It's stickers from things that are on the wall. And then so gradually throughout the rest of the rest of the session, I was adding stickers like that people could find, and it just became everyone wanted to collect the stickers. So I think as we go through the rest of the mysteries, I might make. I did like homebrew on the spot like a sticker book of intelligence. So like each individual sticker, as long as you put the sticker on the forehead, will give you +1 to intelligence rolls for the next 12 hours until it peels off. And it's a book of 20. So, I think I'm gonna incorporate like other little dumb sticker things like that in future games. The other is I have a game that I play on Thursdays. It's just a bunch of friends. And one character like just decided to like start pulling teeth from like bodies. I don't know why, but it then, we were just like, Styx, why are you collecting teeth, bud? Why are you doing that? And he was just like, you never know when you need teeth. You never know when you need teeth. And then finally our DM, like, we went to Avernus, and our DM, like, in exchange for a soul coin, allowed Styx to create like this like mantle or whatever of all of the teeth that he'd collected throughout the entire campaign so far. And it adds to intimidation, and I just, it's so weird and so bizarre that I couldn't believe that like Brandon rolled with it. But it was, two of my favorite dumb things that ever happened. I spoke a lot, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
For me, it just came to me. Yes, ending the liquor fireball as not only one existing, two flammable. Because it was like, yeah, like I think like I would like a shot of fireball. All right, cool, sounds good. And then it just became this like thing where I was kind of improvising like the bartender like lighting on fire and making this like really like ridiculous display. And then they were like, well, what if we have like necklaces of fireball, and then we put them in fireball, and then we put them in a barrel, and then like what happens? And I was just like, okay, that's interesting. And all that escalated into a level 8 party discovering the existence of a ancient kraken, and then they figured out a way to roll in 2 of these barrels. And I think I was just like, you know what, 70 d6, I don't know, whatever, let's just go for it, right? And so they rolled it in. And then, like, as they went out, like, one of the characters, I think it was like a ranger or something, and I was like, bye-bye, and blew it up. It was a good-ass time. But it all started with this was, of course, of like a couple of months of gameplay, and like it all started with, can I get a shot of fireball?
There you go.
The one that I can think of from campaign that we did a long time ago. It's been a while since I've been involved in a long campaign where you really get some good development. Is a gesture that we always use for running. It was kind of invented by my friend Jim, who is the one that's helping me in publish this book and complete the set of books, because since my husband is no longer on this plane of existence. But we had a gesture. I can't do it here because I can't really stand up, but it was like, running! And so we use that all the time for trying to get out of whatever situation that we had.
That's so fun. So, Deborah, since you mentioned the books that you're working on publishing, I am curious. Tell us a little more about the system that you're working on.
It was developed by my late husband, and so I, after I got laid off from my last corporate job, I realized that I had the time to devote to getting it published in his honor. It's a 4D10 generic system, and so you roll the 4D10 and compare it to a table that will tell you how if your score is a certain what's the word I'm looking for? On the it's on the on the IQ scale.
Okay.
Where you have, 100 is average for a person. And so if you roll your 4d10 and you have several modifiers on a roll, like you want to crack a safe, but you have no experience cracking a safe, well, you're going to have a lot of modifiers against that, with time, and you don't have the skills and so on. And then you roll the 4d10 and are able to determine from that whether or not you succeeded. Oh, that's a really poor explanation. And so it can be used. It can be used for any setting. We've used it for everything from your average, dungeon crawl to science fiction. And my late husband got me hooked by running a Star Wars campaign for me way back in the day before Star Wars was an actual game system.
That's awesome.
So that's about it.
That sounds really interesting, actually. I like the idea of systems that you can pick up and put anywhere, because then you can. I find it really just allows you to tell the story you want to tell,
Right.
when you have that. It's the same reason why I also like Savage Worlds, for the same thing. But
yeah, that's one of my favorite parts about it. I've taken this out and done demos at various conventions and around here in Houston at the game shops, and no story goes the same way, even though it is actually the same demo scenario.
yeah.
Wow.
And, we got some people at one point in time who got some powers, and suddenly they want to rob a bank. It's like, okay, you want to rob a bank? Really? How did you get from having these abilities to wanting to rob a bank? Okay, well, you guys go for it.
That's so funny.
Man, I love sandboxy stuff like that. That's so exciting. Congratulations on working on getting that published. That's such a huge deal, and I'm sure the memory of your late husband is being honored properly that way.
I hope so. I kept the dream alive for him. We really wanted to get it published, and these days, with all the online sites with publish on demand and so forth, he can really do it. Plus, do some promos, and excuse me. And so then, back before he passed, it was a little bit before some of these things got started, and we just didn't have the funds to do it before he died.
Yeah. Well, it's unfortunate that he has passed away, but it's great that you're able to carry that forward with him. And I'm sure, I may be stretching a little bit, but I'm sure any of us here would be more than happy to test it out at some point for you if you ever wanted anybody to. So, the community itself is amazing. So
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, I would be more than willing
For sure.
I would be more than happy to proofread it for you if you need a proofreader. Yeah. And may your husband.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Awesome.
I'm hoping to get some online gaming going again. My friend Jim, who I mentioned earlier, is doing some online gaming with friends now, and we do have an adventure up on Roll20. So I'm hoping to do a little bit more with that. I'm still not really comfortable with the whole pandemic thing, getting out and going to the game shops and the cons yet.
Yeah.
So I would love to have everybody come in and play with us.
Yeah.
I'll let you know when that happens.
Definitely. Keep us posted. We had somebody in chat just said, and me. So Nekala the Druid in chat also is interested in helping out. So let us know.
Okay, wonderful.
Can get you in touch with her too.
Awesome.
All right. Yeah.
Full table, real
Okay.
quick.
Can I add two things
Yeah,
to
definitely.
the canon question?
Yeah,
circling
please
back
do.
to the now that's canon. One rich source of material that I love to mine is when players are talking and we're either not yet playing or we're on break and they don't realize that I'm paying attention. And midway during a break, one of my players made a joke about a rogue named Barry B. Stabbins. And at the very end of that session, when several of the characters got arrested, one of them ended up in the back of a City Watch wagon with a scarred, grizzled halfling, and the end of the episode was him introducing himself as Barry B. Stabbins. So that was one.
You had to do it.
I had to do it. And now he is a integral part of a big mystery. And the other was killing time, waiting for someone who was late to a session to show up. The other characters decided to raid that character's bedroom and just see what was hidden in there. And they discovered a book. And I was just spitballing. I was like, all right, the pages of the book, they all have pictures of birds on them. And when you tear them out, you can fold them. You can write a message on them and then fold them up. And when you throw them out, they become like living paper birds that will fly to the person who is going to receive that message. And that has since become just like a standard feature of communication in this whole world, created out of a moment of desperation when they're looking for something. And I was like, this book. So now a bunch of characters in different stories communicate that way.
That's so cool. That's such a neat idea.
I love that. Oh my god. I'm jacking that. Thank you.
That's not nearly as I should say that is the one from our game that I'm currently playing right now is not nearly as it's entertaining, but not nearly as cleverly entertaining. There is a character now who walks around town, the town that we're in, and he's just this generic NPC, but his name is Trumpet. And his entire family, like all of his siblings, are all named like timpani, trombone, triangle, and they all talk like this. So when you meet them for the first time, hi. And it's like that's kind of become the standard greeting now.
Does the family exist outside of the town they're in? Like, is there the extended? I'm not sure what the family lineage is. Like, you go to their town, it's them. How do you know? The voice.
Yeah, no, we haven't left the town yet, so we don't know. But they did happen to run a bar and inn that was called the Orchestra. And the orchestra burned down, and now they own, I think it's called the Symphony. So.
The one family that does not have the voice, like, no, I don't do that. I spent years overcoming that.
Yeah. Oh, gosh, it's so funny. Okay, so let's see. Ray Mayhem had another question. Her next question was, what was a moment in a game that was played so well it broke your heart in the best way?
Okay.
You want to go first? Or I can go.
Dive in if you want.
Sure. My character's death. We're going right for the jugular. This was right at the tail end of a campaign, about 27, 28 sessions, final battle. But before that, it was when he died. But before that, like the second session, he had there was this big like fire elemental, and like one of the other characters in the game had this like jacket that got like torn asunder, and he promised to replace it. But they were like really at each other's throats. They were not friends. But he had the seamstress write in a language she didn't understand, in Draconic in this case, that there will be friendship one day in the inseam of the jacket. And then so he like saves her like from this like really ridiculous like celestial that was trying to essentially take over the world, because that's what you do. But before that, like, because they knew that things were about to turn up, to 11, he, without telling her, he told the rest of the party, in case things don't go well, let her know. and that I wrote that, and we ended up so he ended up dying, saving her from from dying. He dies, and he grasps one of the other characters and fucking let her know, and and he and the DM read it out loud, and I broke, she broke, the DM broke, the Twitch channel, everybody broke. It was beautiful. But yeah, There Will Be Friendship was the emotion just thinking about it. But yeah, it was pretty brutal in a beautiful way.
I've got one that's a mild spoiler for Negative Modifier, but we were asked about this question a couple of days ago on Twitter, hey, what's the quintessential episode of your podcast that you have up so far? And it is because of this moment. The entire first, I'm gonna be vague about it because I don't want to ruin it. People go listen to it, but we'll kind of get the gist of it. The entire campaign is slowly building up to, okay, what the hell's actually going on in the background of all of these things? And the players storm this museum. They're all prepared to do some stuff. It's Delta Green time, and the museum is not only ready and waiting for them, but it's been expecting them. And they bumble through. They kind of disarm the security system. They're all covert, and they come to the directory of the museum, and it simply reads museum exhibits for each one of the agents that have stumbled into the museum, dedicated directly to them, along with every single kind of bad guy they've come across in the campaign so far. The in memoriam exhibits for all of them, what was initially supposed to kind of seem as the big bad, his exhibits right there, right next to all their museum exhibits.
Oh, wow.
Holy shit. I mean, Delta Green gets intense, but
yeah,
that's an extra level of
And it's one of those ones where it's that entire final arc of our first Delta Green campaign, J-Cell Files. That entire arc is just full of moments where it's oh no, we're really screwed, aren't we? Yeah, you are. Here's some other stuff. Are you talking to the King in Yellow right now? Maybe, maybe not. Is he a dapper Southern gentleman in this version? Maybe, maybe not.
Obi came to say hello. I'm sorry.
It's okay. We are a pet-friendly stream. We even have a command for when cats are on stream. So.
Yes, I see.
Two moments that I can think of just right off the top of my head about Broken Heart in the best way. One was at the end of the first campaign that I ran in Weimar, in this homebrew world. And the players had spent 12 sessions over the course of a few months in this tiny hidden mountain village, and it's just rural horror. They discover a demonic pact that was made ages ago, and they're trying to figure everything out, and they realize the mother of this girl that they've been following around, who's been kind of guiding them, was killed as part of this. And at the very end, when they were saying goodbye in character to these two 14-year-old kids, and we were talking in character, I started crying, and so did the players. And another is, I love when things that start out silly end up being incredibly moving. So Ray was playing an illusionist tabaxi the size of a cat, called Bob Ross, Bobble Ross, who makes happy little illusions. Yeah.
Incredible.
And in Weimar, there's a music festival that's like the Coachella of Weimar, called the Magic Hour. And the reason that her character was there was to see if this raccoon pop star named Roxy was in fact the same raccoon that her mother had awakened. And when they had an encounter backstage, it was a seriously, for all of us, an emotional moment. And again, tears. And we're playing, again, this is a scene between a tabaxi the size of a house cat named Bob Ross, and Roxy the pop star raccoon. I cried.
Aww.
That's awesome.
It's like chaotically wholesome.
I think wholesome sometimes the best moments were just it's kind of it's the human aspect of the game in some ways, kind of peeking through in unexpected ways.
Yeah.
I agree with
definitely.
that.
Vulnerability.
You know, I was gonna say one particular moment where like we were having an intervention for my character because she was being like she was possessed by the orrery of the wanderer or whatever. But I think just to keep with the wholesome theme, like a friend of we have a wood elf druid at our table who doesn't know how to read. Like he used intelligence as his dump stat. so you know, he needed to learn how to read because there was you know, there was some curse of lycanthropy going through like his character's homeland or whatever. And my character, the wizard, you know, who with like super high intelligence, you know, his character came to me and was like, hey, I've always kind of been intimidated by you, but I really need to learn how to read. I need to save the boonies. I need to, you know, prevent this like line of lycanthropy going through you know, my hometown, but can you help me out? And so we role played like me teaching Jenneth, like Sybil teaching Jenneth how to read and like using Muffy and Hooked on Phonics and stuff, or you know fantasy Hooked on Phonics, but still it was really wholesome and sweet. And I mean, it really made this like great like sibling relationship between these two characters, to the point where like now Jenneth calls Sybil Sib, and it's just, you know, Sib but also sibling. Like it's so wholesome and good. Yeah, I love the dynamic between those two characters. It's so strong and beautiful, so loving it.
I love that.
Hooked on
Like,
Phoenix. Yeah, that's a good one.
On Phoenix, that's pretty fair. Well, because like in this situation for me, like the thing that was so heart wrenching was like she like the character that like I'd given that gift to, if you will. Gift is a strong word. More like a got you. Because the player was like, "Really, Jacob?" Like, fuck. you like you laid a plot bomb for me 25 episodes ago, and then you died. How dare you? Because they kind of had like the worst case scenario of a brother or sister, where like there was like base level mutual respect and like catty 12-year-old bullshit, but like they understood each other's like talents, and they actually worked really well together if they could just shut the hell up and work. So I can totally relate to that.
Yeah. Wholesome.
See, we do like our wholesome content.
Can I address some of the accusations that have been coming up in chat from my players?
Please do.
Damn, called out.
Yeah. Another moment was Nicola plays a scrimp named Bugbite, who's just like chaos incarnate, a tiny, happy, chaotic goblin creature who is a pact of the Puka warlock. So just every possible flavor of chaos that you could have bundled into one. And we, as part of character creation, I always go back and forth and like we develop things together. So we decided that the way that the familiar system works with this Puka is every time Bugbite summons a familiar, it's just whatever creature is in the equivalent of like the interdimensional break room having coffee at that moment, like whatever hapless intern just gets sucked into the world to be your familiar. and the first one she got was named Cecil, and they like bonded with Cecil, and then she Nicola's character Bugbite and Cecil were falling through the air, and I was like, I knew from the beginning that Cecil was going to have to die, and as they're falling, they're having a conversation, and like, Bugbite, we're going to go on all the adventures together, aren't we? We're going to see the world. And then, and he shattered into granite.
Whoa.
Well, okay then.
Heartwarming.
What's the
Not
name
wholesome.
of the company they
Hashtag
work
not
for called? Like Inhuman Resources or something?
Puka Resources, PR.
Hey.
That's so funny. All right. Well, we have made it through the first hour, so we're going to pause here and take a quick break. Vertrox, I did see your Ask My Question next, so we will start with that when we come back from the break. We'll just give our guests a minute to stretch, refill drinks, anything that they need to do, and we will be back in, like 5-10 minutes tops. See you soon. And we're back. Everybody came back from break, so that's a good sign. And I just want to take a second before we dive back into the questions. I don't think I mentioned this yet, but we have a new channel partner. We are partnering with Gemmed Firefly, or many of you may know him as Dungeon Glitch on Twitter. And so he has made us a code for 15% off at his shop, gemmedfirefly.com. So you can head over there and take a look. He's got all kinds of really cool LGBTQ and TTRPG and just general awesome merchandise over there. If you were watching the stream, I think it was last week, I was wearing one of the shirts from his store. So, so yes, use code shared EXP when you check out, and you can get 15% off your order. So I just want to make sure I shout that out appropriately. You'll see the ads cycling through along with our other partners, Arcane Spectacles and Critical Hit Cookies. So feel free to take advantage of that. Also, I want to make sure we give him a proper shout out now. Okay, diving right back into questions. We have a few that have come up. So let's see. Whose did I say I was going to start with next? I have.
Let's start with a Z.
It's an upvoted one.
Yes, I have two. That's the problem.
Doug asked it. Oh, there it is. I see it. I think it's about party composition.
Yeah, most unconventional, fun, wacky.
Yes.
Yeah, Julian. Yeah.
Yeah, there was that one, and then there was another one. But we'll start with that one, and then because that's from a new person. So, so that question is, what is the most fun, wacky, unconventional PC you all have run into as players or DMs?
I saw this question right before break, and I thought about it over break, and it's okay. It's not even like PC. It's just a person. My friend Alyssa. Oh my god! Every single character she plays. She also runs my like main Acquisitions Incorporated campaign, but like literally every character is like chaos incarnate. I wrote a game last year called the Fabulous Folkish Baking Program that's essentially like a tabletop version of Great British Bake Off because link in bio. But basically when we were doing playtesting, Alyssa played, every single playtest, she played, his full title was actual British actor Henry Cavill, and turned him, like literally took actual facts from his Wikipedia page, like the fact that he's like a horse girl and he builds his own computers and like all of this stuff, and like made it into a Great British Bake Off contestant. And it's like, it blows my mind how creative she is. I just like literally anytime that I can play a game with her, like it affirms, one, why she's my best friend, and two, like why I love her so much. Like I wish I could have like an inch of the creativity she has. She's an incredible. Oh, I love her. I love you, Liz. I'm sure you're gonna watch on the VOD.
I have one that's unbelievably frustrating to play with. It's the weird one of, as a character, my character hates this character. As a player, I'm like, I appreciate this character in this setting. It's a wizard character in the game I'm playing called Symbaroum, which it's a not quite grim dark, but everything is terrible because it is technically post-apocalyptic, kind of the magical sense. And one of the players is playing this unbearably optimistic character that, of the entire party, is the most doomed out of all of us because she is so unbelievably optimistic. She has made a variety of pacts with things that she does not understand, to the point where, like, I think we've reached a point where every single PC in the group has not only like good reason to maybe kill her, but like is kind of honor bound for various reasons to at some point offer, and none of them know this. So, and this character, because she is so good-natured, is kind of upbeat about everything. It's like, oh, she let these assassins go because they said sorry, and if you can't forgive people when they say sorry, what does it matter? And the entire group is like, you're going to get us killed. And it's one of those ones, we're slowly building towards the reveal of, oh, by the way, you're pacted with the spider god and a variety of other things that everyone in this group has been like, we need to prevent this stuff coming back from. But because she's obsessed with this kind of all-consuming quest for knowledge and to kind of expand her knowledge of magic, she just it's solely focused on that, and like there's this giant boulder of consequence rolling towards the party that no one knows about, not even her, because she's just like, oh, it's a good-natured giant spider. Yes, I made a pact with it for my firstborn, but I'm not planning on having kids, so what does it matter?
Oh my gosh.
And it's just it's unbearably upbeat in this fantastically grim setting, and just like, again, from a player standpoint, it's hilarious. As a character standpoint, you're like, so when are we throwing Caitlin off a cliff before she gets us all killed?
Mom, Dad, why don't you meet my new best friend, Shelob?
You joke, but yes. Like, the character I'm playing would literally, based on the most recent pack she's made, be like, yeah, we need to deal with this right now. Why? We don't talk about the Spider King.
No, the saliva isn't poisonous, Dad. It's fine. It's fine.
Well, and because of the way the game works, is this concept of corruption. Her corruption is through the roof because of all these packs, as it should be, but she has no concept really of what that corruption means. So it's like, is your character like 50% Warp Beast from 40k? Yes. Are you aware of this fact yet? Because every single magical thing you've picked up is suppressing all of that negative? Yes. Will you eventually erupt into some kind of multi-fanged, tentacle, eight-eyed abomination monster? Yeah, probably. We're working our way towards that slowly.
But the question and like that answer actually sort of like ups the blast radius for me, because I was actually, to be honest, I was having trouble like pinpointing a specific like PC or NPC or something. And I think what it comes down to is the type of player that is like knows the inevitable bad that's about to happen, but is okay. Not only is okay, but loves playing that naivete into the game, and just being sort of that situation. And then you know full well that sometime soon, like the way I look at it is like in the movie Alien, when like John Hurt, when the chest buster happens, like I know when the chest buster is going to happen. I don't know when it is. It could be tomorrow. It could be 6 months from now. It could be a year from now. And it's just like that's my favorite type of like, yeah, not only am I good with the chaos, I've sown the seeds. You just let me know when the flower comes out.
So, and I think the best case in this one is the fact that I'm not 100% convinced the player understands the consequences they're racking up, but they understand to min-max, the best way you can do in this game is you take all of these burdens and boons and packs that don't immediately manifest, but they're designed to be kind of, yes, you take a benefit for this, and they give you some XP, and they kind of give you some other stuff, but they do drag your character down in a fundamentally fantastic way. And like most characters have like 2 or 3. I think she's up to like 10 right now, which means she gets like times 8 XP for everything that happens. So she's unbelievably powerful, but also we're all sitting there being like, when's your bad corruption roll going to happen? Why? Because you don't have much space left in your corruption cap. We all know this. We did the math.
Amazing.
Oh, Delta Green. What a...
Oh, this is Sumbarum. The Delta Green would be totally different. I'd be like, yes. My other favorite ones from Delta Green was a character that was essentially the guy that hosts Ancient Aliens that didn't quite get that Delta Green will kill you if you talk about Delta Green. That was from a player that I think in a chain of 3 or 4 missions, he never had a character survive more than one operation. Not ever his fault. Like, it was just always like a series of bad dice rolls. And yeah, you stumbled your way into the worst possible situation to be in. And that's a whole other separate topic of just like, yeah, no, this game is lethal and your dice rolls were terrible. And yeah, you drowned in a bathtub because you thought you were going over to get have a conversation with a tween celebrity. And no, it turns out her mom was some weird topa creature that was feeding off the daughter, and the daughter needed more life force. So you were the closest battery in this situation.
Yeah. Yep. I'm just thinking back to when I accidentally had 3 out of the 6 characters killed in my Delta Green game, but that's an answer for a different question.
Oh, yeah.
To speak to party composition and unusual PCs, by now, like, I don't, with the players that I'm playing with, all of them, or at least in the current campaign, have played so much that they're all looking to branch out. So one of the campaigns has the party a a mute Goliath who grew up by himself after his entire clan was killed in an avalanche. So he doesn't speak to anyone, and he's known as Jimmy of the Hills. He's kind of like a cryptozoological legend to the people around him. So that's because the party is mute Goliath, named Jimmy of the Hills, and that's Doug. A bugbear edgelord type rogue with like 17 daggers, who played by David Tilstra.
You had me a bugbear rogue. Initially, that by itself is just always like, okay, where are you going with this?
Yeah. And he acts like an edgelord, but actually his parent, and he talks about how his parents died and that like set him on this dark path. But actually his parents are fine, and he writes them letters and sends money home. An awakened pseudo dragon, and a shaved yeti who wears spectacles.
Amazing.
Yeah, this is him right here.
Oh my god. A shaved yeti who wears spectacles.
Yeah. That's the whole part.
I wasn't part of this game, but it was part of our Extra Life charity stream weekend a couple weekends ago, or last weekend. I've lost track of time. Last weekend, and in the game that David happened to be a part of, although I don't believe this was his character, there was a character that was half Minotaur, half mermaid.
They were a mermator?
That pretty much, but they were all the human halves.
Oh my god.
So they were a human. That's just what
Oh
the
my
human is at this point.
But they weren't, because they were half Minotaur, half mermaid.
Awesome.
Do they have a sibling who is just the fishtail?
That I don't know, but that would be hysterical if they did.
Minotaur head.
How did that work? Like, was it just what stuff did you carry over? Because you're lacking the Minotaur parts. You're probably not massive at that point. And you're not aquatic. So how did that mechanically even work?
I don't know. The DM made it work, but yeah, the minute I heard about that, I was like, that is amazing.
So would that just be a variant human at that point, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm getting at, I guess. Like, you've successfully, by freak's accident, kind of genetics your way out of the Minotaur and the mermaid parts.
Yep.
When you roll that 20 at birth.
So congrats, you made Aquaman by accident.
Right.
Is that a nat 20 though, or is that a nat 1? Depends on your interpretation.
I was going to say it depends on who's
Nailed
playing
it.
Aquaman.
Exactly.
I was gonna say, yeah. If you've got
Hello,
if
Aquaman?
it's
Hell yeah.
called Drogo, that's a nat 20.
Well, so
Right.
it's
If it's the
Minotaur, so
robot
yeah,
chicken
it's Khal
version, that's a
Drogo.
nat 1.
It's half Minotaur, so yes, it's the Khal Drogo version of a mermaid, of a Aquaman.
Oh my
Hot.
gosh.
hell yeah, into it.
The wackiest character that we ever had, I believe, was when my late husband played an enveloper. And so we never knew what his origin was. We didn't know who he might envelop next, and or if one of those people that he might envelop would be one of us.
Like an enveloper is like someone that like takes over someone else, or like, I guess I've never heard the term before.
Yeah. It's probably one that we made up back in the day. I would say the number of times I played D&D, or any of the D&D classes, has been like once, and so this was just some character that he thought of, and he had a little miniature that was all black, and like it was just a black robe that just kind of hung there. And it would kind of like eat a person and then become that person, and kind of take over the whole person's body and identity. And then crazy things happened, I guess.
I was about to ask, like, was he playing the actual character, or was he playing just the first person the enveloper enveloped, and now they were that character?
That was my next question.
Yeah.
Or does he even know?
As I recall-
Would that be wild?
Layers on layers on layers.
Yeah, layers on layers. And so he would try to play the character that he did envelop. And like I said, we never knew what his original stats were or anything. He would just kind of envelop somebody and become them.
Wow, that's awesome.
Basically, like, that's Danny Phantom.
How did we get from that darkness to Danny Phantom? That's incredible. In 2 sentences. That's a record, I think.
That's
Did Danny
that's
Phantom
kind
develop?
He didn't
possessed-
eat them, but
He really gained their powers, like he could body hop and stuff like that. But
right. There just wasn't like an engorging, like there wasn't a food portion of that system.
it's on the tip of my brain what the like. As a character, I'm trying to think of where it's like, no, they like literally like it's the cloak goes over them and the cloak then pulls shut and it's now that shape and it's like a split second of hey, this like it's that person but like made of fabric and that's that person again. But now it's like no, they're not. They're gone. They're now part of the void that was inside that cloak.
Amazing.
That's such an interesting character concept. Like, I'm not sure how your table like dealt with it. Huh.
At some point, I still want to play. Almost a forever DM, but at some point, I still want to play a sentient gelatinous cube in like a containment suit.
Oh my god.
Yes.
So would that be a Warforged at that point, or would it still like what would that be technically?
I would just start from the ground, from the jelly up.
Well, so like
wow. Wow.
What's the mechanic? Oh, I pour myself into an object to attack with. Okay.
Yeah,
like
like detachable gloves, and you could just start absorbing people.
Is this
No,
an
it's a
attack action
Starfinder.
or use an object action?
Like a Starfinder is 2 different things you could use for that.
Yeah.
There's a swarm thing, and then there's also the SROs where it's like, yeah, it's a living robot. What are the limitations on robot? There aren't, but we recommend it being at least humanoid-ish so you can use armor, but I could be a toaster. Yes, you could be a toaster.
A toaster and a suit of armor.
Don't let your dreams be dreams.
Yeah.
Anything can be a mimic too.
Sir toasts a lot.
Sir toasts a lot.
My most chaotic character is a wild magic barbarian modeled after Tommy Wiseau, and I don't get to play him often.
God.
But like he's convinced he does magic. He's convinced like he's actually like a wizard. He's convinced that like he's actually good at everything, but he's bad at everything except doing flips and shit because like of course we know Tommy Wiseau is jacked as hell. Mm-hmm. So I play him like as Tommy Wiseau in, you know, Eberron or Tavern or wherever he ends up because he's a drifter.
Oh,
so,
hi, Warforged. Oh, hi, Warforged. Oh, hi.
Oh my god. Yeah, so basically my friend Robin was running this like series of one-shots called Short-Lived, where like every episode was like a new reality TV concept. And so I made Tommy Wiseau for like the initial session of these like one-shots, and like he, long story short, he like stole, like he did some flips and shit off of like the like molten cheese walls of Chester the Cheetah's lair, and stole Chester the Cheetah's sunglasses, and like it was a thing.
Those tracks.
I love being Tommy Wiseau. I just want to be noticed by Senpai.
So have you, I guess like kind of in the fake mage category of things, have you ever played a game that actually has a fake mage class before?
No.
So I'm not sure if it's made to 2E yet for Pathfinder, but the first edition has fake mage as just a straight up player character class you can be, and it's literally like, yeah, it's like it says you can play this as though they're aware they're a mage or not. Just consult with your players. And I've had some fun where we had some parties that were built around, like basically the guy was actually Houdini, but he thought he was some great powerful mage, and the entire party was like, no, we spend our time making it look like he's all powerful because he has the street name. The rest of us are the actually useful one, and this guy just has all these points into dexterity and charisma, so he has the stage presence to be like, I summon fireballs, wizard fireball.
Oh my god.
It's a little more complicated than that, but that's how we chose to run it. Where basically it was just like, yeah, not even a player character by the end. It's like, no, this is boring to just be the face that's not even really the face, but it was us basically running around as the medieval roadies of this terrible character that it's like, no, we have to keep him alive. Why? He's the reason we have money right now. Like, he is the face, like, he does the tricks, people come to see him. But yeah, he didn't really kill that dragon. He was unconscious for most of it.
Incredible.
Gotta make him look good.
Yeah.
Incredible. I love that so much.
So it's basically like Entourage,
Yeah, it was definitely inspired by that some, but at least in that case, what's his name is at least a semi-competent actor. This was truly like the GM star once it became a non-player character that was just an NPC, like gave the guy a bit of a death wish, whereas like his ego was like, no, I'm obviously this. He basically bought into his own hype and was like going down the path of like, no, I really am psychic, and we're all like, no, you're not. Some of the rest of us are. You're not. But I did all these things.
I know what you're thinking right now, and it's wrong. Yeah.
You're a bad, and you should feel
it's
bad.
like Gilderoy Lockhart meets Entourage.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Oh, meet
So.
Psych, where like
Yeah.
Sean Spencer is like, oh yeah, the
Yes.
fake psychic, yes.
Another PC that I was not expecting, but I so love is the one that Vertrox plays, which is Baron Bearsley Brownfur of Barrington, and he is a big bear. I dropped a picture in our Tavern's chat
Amazing.
that I drew of the party, but it's
I love
two
it.
tiefling cousins and a giant bear.
I
Is he wearing
love it.
Who
Is he wearing a waistcoat in that picture?
he wears the Yes, he is wearing the torn clothes of the nobleman who was trying to hunt him that he killed in the woods, and now has assumed that identity and is trying to pass in civilization.
Oh, he's like playing his own Honey Heist game, is what you're trying to say.
It is a one-player Honey Heist game within a larger campaign.
My
love it.
soul has
Exactly.
left my body. Thank you for that.
Have you ever seen the YouTube video Dova Bear?
No, but
Sorry?
I'm
It's,
interested.
I think it's like 3 or 4 videos where it was an animation thing from back in like 2004, I think, where the entire thing is just a bear that kills the player character from Skyrim and gets the iconic helmet dropped on its head, and people just assume it's the Dragonborn. Now it's going around being a bear and it's lucking its way through situations where it's like, thank God you're here to stop this dragon. Rrrr.
Dova Bear, Dova
Yeah,
Bear.
that's the theme song for the entire thing. But yes, it is.
Could be.
It's not even it's
Could
literally just a
possibly
bear
be.
helmet getting like blasted from place to place. Where it's like, who will stop the other? The bear falls to the ceiling, just trying to grab some honey and kills the usurpers or something. It's like, okay, yeah, this tracks for this. This is the right type of dumb for this. How do I play this version of Skyrim?
Right? At Bethesda, excuse me, where can I get like the bear DLC?
Right? Not even. I just want the mod for it.
No bear, but bear armor they'll sell you.
Yeah, definitely.
Incorrect. I want to be a bear.
An actual bear.
What's funny about like the party composition question is like I especially when I'm running a game, like I'd almost rather not there be the whole like we have the fighter and the mage and the thief, so like someone has to be the cleric. Like some of the most fun games I've ever run or been a part of are the ridiculous ones. Like what if we are all bards? This is terrible. Let's do it. So if you've played Sunless Citadel, for example, quick small spoiler for Sunless Citadel. So you're kind of running through this like kobold kingdom, and then you run into this like white dragon wormling, and all of us having fought through all the things, and we're like, okay, white dragon wormling dude, check this out. How about, because like we have a gig after this. We would love if we could like ride on you into the gig, and like you're gonna be like our like mascot. And he was like, no. And he was like, no, I'm a white dragon. Totally fair. But that's just ridiculous. Like that wouldn't happen in any other situation. And so what ended up happening was we eventually rolled well enough after being turned into ice several times over and over. But we were persistent. And even though we are covered in ice and awfulness and bleeding out everywhere, we eventually calmed it down enough. We don't want your gold. We're gonna earn gold together. We'll even rename the band after you. Stupid, absolute stupidity. But it eventually worked. And like the way that particular like mini series ended was, yep, we flew in on this white dragon wormling and like jumped off.
I just watched Final Tap for the first time last night, and I don't know why that tweet is blowing up right now, but it is. And like that just gives me big like the Stonehenge scene vibes from that movie, where like the small Stonehenge just.
Yep.
I want God. That should be someone should. That's an idea for actually. Hold on, I'm writing that down right
Write that
now.
down. I will write that down.
That's an idea for.
Yes. I will make a note.
Generally, all of my parties are weird and fun compositions, but so I had I had an ongoing campaign for most of a year, and we're about to start session 30, and it was like the climax. One of the players had been on a Breaking Bad type arc and was about to become like the big bad, and none of the other characters realized it, although the players did. But then one of the players couldn't play that week. So it's like, fuck it, I have nothing else, and we can't do this without without all of the players present. So let's just everybody make a character, come back in 10 minutes, and we'll play just a one shot. And 4 of them made monks, and 1 of them made a barbarian, and their party name was 4 Monks and a Hunk.
Yep, that's how you win.
Yep. No, it's weird. Like the more kind of like on the podcast by Freak Action, we found ourselves in a situation we've drifted into games that party composition doesn't actually matter, or the games are designed where it's like, no, you can play whatever you want. It's just as brutal, and kind of it's more about skills. And Delta Green's a weird example where there are no classes. There's professions, and the ones that are kind of mildly game breaking in that case are the weird ones where it's like Coast Guard or IRS agent, where it's like, why are these powerful? Well, you should be afraid of the Coast Guard, and the IRS can just declare things, tax issues, and do whatever the hell they want at that point, which leads to a whole bunch of other weirdnesses. And the other one we're working through right now is Sumbarum, where it's we have the kind of 3.5 archetypes of characters, but you can kind of build whoever you want, however you want. We have a bunch of mechanics that let you repurpose how your stats work. So yes, you can have a spellcaster that starts off being terrible at melee, but we then like pick up these 2 abilities, and hey, you're using a totally different stat for melee. Now you're using your intelligence or something, because you should totally be able to think. You can be the thinky duelist at that point. Like if you want to live that Robert Downey Jr. version of Sherlock Holmes that's got the kind of Matrix think through movement stuff, here's that version of that character for you. They're still a spellcaster, but now they can also mess stuff up in melee.
You know, it's so funny, like, also thinking about, like, party mechanics that don't, party composition that doesn't make sense. So there's this, a friend of mine is, like, I think just finished her Kickstarter for her Powered by the Apocalypse game, The Deepman Files, and it's basically like a ghost hunting RPG. And you can either play as like a psychic that like various flavors of psychic that are like in tune with their that side, or like a normie essentially, but like various flavors of normie. And so for playtesting, everyone went with psychic, but I was like, I feel like I just need to like playtest a normie, and so I've been playtesting as a skeptic. And so where like the whole purpose of this character is to like explain away bullshit with like other bullshit. And so I in our final playtest a couple weeks ago, like, oh my god, we were like meeting the big bad evil guy that like somehow figured out how to like take powers from other psychics and like put them into like normies' heads. And my character, who like essentially is just part of this like exploration team for money and doesn't believe in anything other than the fact that this guy's money is real, like, she like got up the gusto to be like, all right, yeah, if this is real, if you say psychic powers are real, fine, give me psychic powers right now. And he couldn't. Like, he just couldn't. And so, like, the entire party was like, no, Rain, it's real. It's real. I don't know what we can do to convince you that it's real. And it's just like, well, you can't prove it to me. And I only believe what I see. Like, she's the worst form of that. So I just love that kind of, like, weird dynamic of nonsense. So good.
I love it when players have characters that like they work together, but they have some like friction between them where it's like, no, they don't work well together. They're highly effective, but they don't necessarily kind of their teamwork does not make sense. It keeps the story going in a more interesting way. Where if you have that person going, no, ghosts aren't real. You're all full of it. Like, yes, okay, wheel the crystals around, like get the kind of divining rods out. But also, I'm just gonna go tamper with the fuse box now. It makes it it gives you fun moments of why don't you believe us? And like, I think kind of especially for games that are all about kind of role play because you have to play up the ghost aspect of things. It just kind of helps feed into that system where it's like, okay, you have that one person going, it's the wind, it's the speaker box. It's feedback. Okay, I don't know, but it's obviously not that.
Ugh.
Yeah, fun intra-party conflict is like so good.
Yeah.
And why the Avengers doesn't start with everybody being like, okay, we're all on the same page, right? Cool, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this.
That's not how friendships work.
Avengers Assemble? All right, let's go.
I love how you said it with a question at the end. That was
Yes,
really
that's the correct
Assemble?
inflection.
Do we?
Is that what we're doing today?
On your left.
Just want to make sure everyone's on the same page. Yep, everyone's on the same page.
Oh, you can't assemble today? What about next Thursday?
On your left, on your right.
Well, Thanos is right there, so like whether you can assemble or not, like I don't know what to tell you.
Do we want to circle back to assembling though? Like, I want to like put a pin in this assembling.
Yeah, let's-
Right, now you're just
Using
talking
phrase
about
assemble.
trying to coordinate everybody to play on the same day.
Right?
Right.
Exactly.
It's like wrangling
yeah,
players.
let's project manage this problem.
Who's on Trello, Captain America?
Oh
I
god,
don't get
now
that
I'm triggered. Jira board, story points.
Not Jira. Oh man.
I'm showing
Jesus,
my
these are some cuts.
engineering background.
Trigger warning, Jira. Like,
Yep, straight up. If you know, you know.
Jesus, these are some cuts.
Nekola just said in chat, assemble, how does 3 weeks from Wednesday work?
Yo, straight up, right? Ain't that the
Yeah.
truth?
Cut to the end, the Earth is just gone.
Right? Well, we tried.
We did our best.
Did we? Did we though?
Let's have a meeting about when we should assemble.
Right. Let's have a postmortem about the meeting that we should have had, that we didn't have, and that now we're having.
Right. That could have been done.
Literal
in an email.
postmortem for
A
half
literal
the
postmortem.
Oh,
Is there a separate
no.
group chat where this was talked about, but when I'm not on or something? I think I'm missing something.
All right. Let's see. So, I'm going to. We have time to squeeze in one last question, and we had one other ask my question next, so we're gonna go to that one. Any of the questions that we didn't get to tonight, I'm going to put on Twitter, and I will tag everybody in, so that way we can have some conversation there. If you're in chat and you want to jump in, look us up at Shared EXP RPG on Twitter, and you can feel free to jump into the conversation there too. I'll usually do that sometime on Monday. So, so the last question that we had was, it says, we all know how important party composition is for a campaign, but can you talk about how the composition of the players at your table affects your game? And I know this is like a really hard one to squeeze into a very short period of time.
I have kind of two answers for this. One of them is for the podcast, we look for a very different kind of group of players than we actually do when I'm trying to put groups together to have fun. There's an intensity that you have to kind of have to keep yourself going when you're trying to kind of do the production version of this type of stuff, which is both grating and like if people are into it, they're into it. But like, it's one of those ones where kind of like you're straddling the fine line between turning a hobby into maybe not a job, but something more scheduled and regimented, where it's like, no, yes, we can have like the 5 minute aside of us being wacky and weird, but like if it's not in tone of what we're playing, I'm either going to wind up cutting it or we just kind of have to plow through. It's like, okay, yes, we made a fun joke. We need to move on and keep going with this because, yes, I can edit out the dead air, but kind of the like half hour of us just being weird for the sake of weird doesn't necessarily work all that well. And I think on the flip side of that, the kind of for fun stuff, I think friends are good. I think if you can mix in people that aren't necessarily the best of friends, you kind of avoid the pitfall of collusion's the wrong word, but kind of inside jokes and stuff. Like there's a point where there's too much friendship, and I'm not saying there shouldn't be friends at a table, but there's kind of too much shared stuff people might be referencing. You wind up excluding players by accident. I think that's a weird balance you have to put up together though too. But as someone who also runs a just insane number of pickup groups online at this point. As long as you want to play and you're kind of on board with what the story we're going with is, I can run a group with almost everyone. Like, I'm a big believer in that whole playing to lift or kind of jamming to lift aspect of things, where it's not everyone has to be the same level of engaged, but you have to kind of give everyone their time in the spotlight or kind of their tie-in at some point that they can react to. And if you have a good group, and you can figure out pretty quickly if you have a good group or a bad group, they'll latch on to, okay, this is so-and-so's time. And we've all been in the group, though, too, where one person's trying to solve every problem, even if they're not necessarily the right character to fix that stuff, because they're used to, like, okay, I'm always fixing these things. You're a strength character. Yeah, this is a thinky moment.
Right. Yeah, I've run into situations where, like, I'm either like, I would love either all new players or all experienced players that are friends, and typically not until recently not a combination of both. Because to your you just nailed the point of, like, then there's like everyone's got buy-in, but then like they're kind of not including like the new person, and I think, which is like so lunchroom high school, like total bullshit. But I think this is why, like, a session 0 is a really huge thing. Like, and I think really until I started playing games online, like I was just like, cool, we're doing the thing, jump in and like rinse, react, repeat, whatever. But like, this is the game that I would like to run. This is what, and like, let's just talk about like expectations, right? Because like I've definitely been like, this is someone that is like, at least me, like, I'm a really loud dude, and like I'm very comfortable in the spotlight where some people at the same table would not be. So like, I'm comfortable in that space, and I also know when to, pass the baton. But I'm always consistently worried that I'm not passing the baton fast enough. And then typically when I say it happens, it's like, no, dude, we were totally cool with like you just like doing the thing and like blowing shit up, and like, oh well, damn. So like finding that balance, I think is can be really, really difficult. But I think as long as you're vocalizing, like, hey, we're, it's a game, we're all trying to play a game and have fun, like, let's not overthink it too much, and that's sort of where it comes from. And then I love, like, almost like in a response to that, like, I love the idea of, because my best friends are people that I play TTRPGs with, or people that I met playing TTRPGs that are now my best friends, because of that. So I love what you mentioned about, like, maybe the best course of action is like, these are people that like are acquaintances, and then because they're going on this they're building this world, this story together, that's what unlocks that relationship and friendship with them.
One of the best combinations that we've ever had was 9 guys and me. We had 4 of us original players, and that was 3 friends and myself, who used to play with my late husband as the dungeon master or game master. And then we had 4 second-gen players, who were 2 sons of 2 guys of the original group, and each of them had 2 of their sons there. And we had 1 original player, or 1 new player. And those of us who were the original had been playing together for 25 years or something like that. And then we've all been playing long enough that some of us had kids. And then we brought in a new guy who was older like us. And we had a great weekend. We played like 19 hours. It was so much fun.
That sounds like a blast.
19 hours. I mean, there was once I played a game for 19 hours. I mean, and it was broken up into like 6-hour sprints, but that took up every spoon I had in the drawer, like, so much.
Yeah, we broke it up. Yeah, we definitely broke it up over 3 sessions. Yeah. And it was so much fun. I was surprised. Though we had a lot of the, I'm a competition for I'm the cleverest gamer in the room. It was tempered quite a bit by a lot of humor and people just basically enjoying getting to game that long together.
Again, wholesome content.
Right.
I run a one-shot Discord server. Like, the whole point really is just for us to play one-shots of various systems for folks to just hang out, try it out, be like, oh, I've wanted to play this, but I can't find people, so you go in and play the games. And like, over the past like year or so, we've had the server, which, we started essentially because of quarantine. We've had like, a consistent group of people that are really, really great. I mean, fabulous to play with. I mean, it's, always maybe a pool out of the same like 20 people, but it's still like really, everyone gels together. We did have like some issues though recently with some people that were like rules lawyering to the point of like, God, like not even just agitation, but like straight up like, I mean, trying to start fights at the table. And that's something that you definitely don't want to promote. And so like, we had those two players that were like berating people at the table over Zoom, like over playing a ranger wrong or like playing a rogue wrong. Like they had to be banned, but they were banned for really other reasons. But I mean, it just like added to the list of like why they were banned. And I think it realizing that interaction honestly like made me sit as like a moderator and realize like what kind of community that I want to foster and like really how I want to edit as a game master really, and like the importance of doing that. That's something that like a year ago when I started GMing, I didn't really consider. I was just like really just taking people as they were and like making do with what was presented with me in terms of players. But now I can like actually sit back and be selective and be like, no, you're a dick, I don't want to play with you. but like, if the whole point is for everybody to come together and tell a good story and to have a good time, that's people who, I mean, of course, like everyone, has their own limit of like what is and what isn't enough rules lawyering. But if you're doing it to the point of like, you're making it a point of contention and it's holding up the game, like that's roll back, like realize you're the problem. But yeah, that's just me.
I think you're talking about too, like it's one of those things where the more time you put in being a GM or a DM or whatever the handle you're going with is, like it's like player skill is definitely a thing, and like DM and GM skill is also a thing that I think a lot of people don't quite understand. Like, it is a built-on thing. Like people aren't just like you can be lucky and maybe you can dive in and have the right personality and kind of the right temperament for this, but like
Right.
just the more like the kind of the weird conversation that people get mad at occasionally, the whole like the more games you play, I guess the more it's just the quantity of stuff you play and just the more games you're running with more people, you do get better. Not necessarily in just kind of a how you tell things, but kind of I think your fuse gets shorter for bad behavior, as it should, I think. Like, I think there's
Right.
even like pre-pandemic, and I think the pandemic's actually been good in a weird way for this, where you have more options because of online. But we've all been like, everyone has a horror story of that group they were in for years or months or whatever that just was slowly draining their fun out of the hobby, but that was the group they had access to. And the advice I give everyone on that topic is find a new group. It's never been easier. Like, or start your own.
Yeah.
Anyone, like, if you want, like, if you can't find a DM, there are games out there that are easy to learn to be a DM with, and anyone will be happy. Like, oh, you're running this? We won't complain that much because we don't have a DM.
Yeah.
At me on Twitter if you want an invite to my Discord server, because we accept everyone. Unless you're a dick, then bye.
Right.
All right. Well, we are going to wrap up here. What I'm going to have everybody do is just go around again and remind us of who you are and where we can find you on social media. We're going to go in the reverse order from when we started. So, Amber, we're going to start with you this time.
Hi, everyone. My name is Amber Logston. Again, I can be found at the Space Jamber, as in like the 90s movie, the Space Jamber, on Instagram, Twitter, whatever. And I just launched my freelance editing, copywriting, whatever kind of, writing business on Card. So you can, it's thespacejamber.card, CARRD.co, and we can work together. I'm really excited to just, make some magic with the written word. So,
Awesome.
yay. Thank y'all for having me tonight. It was so great.
Thanks for coming on. This was great. It was a lot of fun to actually, I always love it when I can put a face to a name of people that I've chatted with online, but never actually like gotten to talk to in person. So, Charlie, we'll go to you next.
Yeah, I'm Charlie of Negative Modifier or Infamy, I guess is probably the right phrase at this point. Anywhere that negative modifier is used, that's probably us. We're a podcast. We play Delta Green and Symbaroum. We are about to finish our first kind of round of Symbaroum. We may have a quick dive into the game Locust before we get back to our second season of Delta Green. And if you listen to the first season of Delta Green, that was me playing nice. The second season is absolutely insane from the jump. So look forward to that. You can find us on Twitter at negmodpod, just 6 letters kind of thing, or just negative modifier. That's anywhere it shows up.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on. I'm excited to hear you
All right.
play Locust. I've had the writer on a couple of times here.
It's been a blast being here. They've been really fun to talk to as well, because like
Yeah.
they approached us like, "Hi, you like horror things?" And I'm like, "Yes, we do. What horror thing do you have?"
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for coming on.
Oh, it's been
Jacob.
absolutely fun.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, again, thanks for having me. An absolute blast. Jesus, that was already 2 hours, so I could do this for another 12. Like
Right?
you know.
I know. We
So,
say that a lot.
For sure. So, I am the co-founder, one of the co-founders of the Amphitheater on Twitter and Twitch. We're starting our new D&D 5e campaign called Astral Skies on Tuesday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, twitch.tv/the Amphitheater. I'll be playing Ink on Skin, a Dark Jaguar Tabaxi swashbuckler warlock. It's going to be a good time. Has his own shit. It's gonna be fucking sweet. So you should come and hang out. As you can tell, I'm not excited about it whatsoever.
Not at all.
Not at all. But also I run Duel of Dragons. It's a 5e campaign based off of Chrono Trigger, the greatest game of all time. You could fight me on that if you would like. I'm not hard to find. And that's on every other Sunday, next Sunday. So not today, obviously, because I'm here. Twitch.tv/SoManyGames. And there's a lot of really cool shit happening this week. Also on So Many Games, our Quest RPG, The Agency, is having its season 1 finale tomorrow at, I think, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. So that should be really cool. And then Thursday, I'm going to be playing in I believe I'm sorry. I'm running a game on my friend Jordan's page and running some D&D Thursday night. We're raising some money for Color of Change. So that's twitch.tv/D&D Jordan Lee. So check that out. There's actually a bunch of games. And there's actually some stuff doing next week for Jasper's Game Day. A whole shit ton of stuff. Check out my link tree. And good times. Black Lives Matter. Trans rights are human rights.
Amen. And I was going to say, too, about the Jasper's Game Day thing. There are seats available to buy on eBay for those games. So if you are interested and not already playing, you can look up Paradise RPG on Twitter and find all of the links there. I know Jacob's in one. I'm in one. I know they've got some really, really awesome stuff coming up. So good things coming. So that's a great organization to support if you can.
Indeed.
Dev.
Yes. Again, I'm Devin. Dev Makes Things. On Instagram, Twitter, you can see some of my art there. I am opening up for commissions also, if anyone wants some OC art. I do not have my own podcast yet, but if you want to hear me DMing or GMing a couple of games, you can listen to a couple of the most recent episodes of Beholder to No One. Thank you, Nikki. Where I ran a game of Goblin Quest, which is some of the most ridiculous, over-the-top fun I've ever had in a session. And then a session in my homebrew world called An Entirely Uneventful Voyage on the Airship Arcadia. That dropped a couple weeks ago. And if you're interested in coming and playing with me and us on Weimar, I love mixing, talking about party composition, mixing new players, new faces, with people who are old friends. Yeah, and look for more of that coming soon.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Dev, for coming on. Great to get to talk to you again. Yes, I was in the Entirely Uneventful, what was it? Entirely Uneventful Journey on the Airship Arcadia? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
I was in that one, and Ray Mayhem was also in that one. So, and Atomic Zero, actually, 3 very familiar people on this channel, because Ray and Atomic are both in our Star Wars campaign. So, yeah, you should definitely give that one a listen. We had a great time recording it, and Atomic was freaking hilarious. And Deborah, we'll finish up with you.
Thank you, and thank you very much for having me on tonight. It's been great. Glad to get to know more people in the TTRPG community. Anyway, I'm Deborah Honig-Parizic of Pardonus Gaming, purveyors of Everyverse RPG. You can find us, probably the best place is the website right now, which is www.pardonusgaming.com. And we're working on getting all of the books out, and we're working on the last one right now. And hopefully we'll get some online gaming going soon, and I'll let everybody know when we do that. Probably put it on Twitter, and my handle there is at dhonigparizic. Thanks a lot for having me again, and hope to see y'all soon.
Definitely. Well, thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing about your system too. I think we've got some people interested in checking it out, so we will definitely be watching your Twitter and keeping an eye out for it when you're ready. So, all right. And I am Gamer Mom Luna. This has been Tales from the Tavern. We're here every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern to 10 p.m. Eastern time. You can catch us also on Tuesday nights with our Star Wars campaign, which is also at 8 p.m. Eastern. And Wednesday nights we have 50 Shades of Crimson, which is our Pathfinder first edition campaign. Again, also at 8 p.m. Eastern. We've got a one-shot coming up on August 7th. We are going to be doing another Aether and Steamworks game, where our good friend Apache 1222 will be making his TTRPG debut live on stream. So that will be very exciting. He has been a wonderful moderator of our channel since we launched in October, and so we're really excited about that. And yeah, I know we've got lots of other stuff coming up too. So we are glad to have you here. And like I said, look for the questions that we didn't get to answer tonight on Twitter sometime in the next day or so. We're going to go raid. Let's see, who are we going to go say hi to? Let's go say hi to our good friends, Lionhead Gaming. If you don't know Lion plays Harvey, who is a 3PO droid that has been retrofitted as an assassin on our Star Wars campaign. So give them a follow if you don't. Yeah, he's a lot of fun. And we will catch you all next week.